never had an ending. Just ended. It was abrupt. Take it or leave it. There's no package. There's no beautiful bow wrapped around it. Many stories were experiences recounted and retold by a shaman or an elder or a wise person as something cautionary, a lesson, a way to understand the universe, why the sky is so high, why there are stars up there, what will happen to you when you die, why the crop grows in the cycle. So it's really about experience, encapsulating that in simple form to transmit to the community or culture that we live in, to share that knowledge and experience in a way that the brain is ready to receive, which is really speaking in themes, with rhythm and pattern. But it doesn't really have to be about amusing them or entertaining them, or you don't have to be a clown.
So it can be about frightening them.
It can be.
Don't go there, don't touch that.
Yeah, or it can be just sharing and leaving it at that, just sharing the experience and allowing, from children onwards, allow the intelligence in the audience, allow them to imagine and interpret. Don't moralize at the end and say, see, you must not do this. If you do this, you will burn your hand.
But can I just ask, I mean, I'm all for sharing experience, that's one of the things that I do, but you talk about these kind of old stories that are untampered with. If you're passing those along, there's a danger that you're passing along very old values as well, or very old judgments. How, for example, in the stories do women often come out on top, or not, or are they not that literal? These stories which are more mythical, where there aren't people. I don't know. So
well, it really depends what stories you know, right? There are lots of stories I know where the women do come out on top all of the time, especially the stories from Kerala and Chennai and Tanjavur and Punjab, right? She may be kidnapped, she may be forced into marriage, but she uses her wits and she will overcome. So the question to ask is, why are only these sort of stories perpetuated, printed and published? Who suppressed the other stories that were always walking alongside? They died because they didn't have the chance to tell as much as the, male-dominated voice or something like that, right? So that is why I go sit in a village with women and listen to each one tell me a different version of the same story. So the plot does not change, but the way they tell it, the way they begin and end, has their own personal touch to it. A grand epic has evolved over time, but the plot has not changed.
Damian, can you answer my original question about what is a story? Are you creating model myths? Do you have more points?
The way I understand story is that it can be as simple as a moment. It can be as vast as a word that you mentioned. You create a world. Characters live in that world. People live in that world. It could be, if I go back, it could be a moment I've written stories that is just on that moment. You can extract as much as from a moment as you can extract from a life. So it depends on the skill and the ability of the storytelling.
So you don't have a plot in that moment?
Well, when I was starting out, I have to depend on things like that, plot, characters, voice. But as I move on, I realize if fiction or story is to be alive, it has to have some organic roots. It has to be based on something that is very human-like. It has to grow. It needs sunlight, it needs water, it needs stimulants. In a way, my story have grown out of control. I usually employ the part that I sit at my desk, I write a story. I do not want to know what's my second sentence. I would want to know my second sentence, but I would want to know what's following after that. I would let the muse take, or I would let the mind go. I would let my finger do the tapping. I would know only my second line after it is actually typed out. So, I don't care much about plot, but it seems that perhaps the way of understanding stories, the way of understanding novel is that you should have a plot. You want to go anywhere and everywhere with just characters. And, I don't know. You want a voice-driven narrative or you want a plot-driven narrative?
President, a very fluid storytelling zone we're in. Whereas Damian, unless I'm much mistaken, this is a true story, and you didn't have the ability to make anything up.
Well, I did. Depends who you ask. But no, I think for me a story is something with a beginning and a middle and an end that can be retold. And thinking about this technical what is story, what is what happens, story is what we understand from that. You know, so story is kind of like the higher level, and you know, it can be very short, like you were saying, or it can be very long. There's I think people who are like stories on Twitter, you know, 140 characters. You know, some people would say that's not a story, but you know, if you can take something from that and you believe in that moment. You know, I've read The Guardian has a thing called Twitter fiction, which is quite fun, and you can look at them online and you can see these stories. Some of them work and some of them, you know, some of them. But I think that this idea of truth is very interesting because like the memoir is very easily said as a novel. Because it has a beginning and a middle and an end, and it has characters, and there are things happen, which we would say is a plot, and hopefully there's some kind of story. So the thing that makes it different is that I say that it's true as the person who's written the story. But what does truth mean? You know, you might not believe that. For me, it's about an emotional truth, and I think the best novels and the best non-fiction have this overlap. Some of them were here yesterday, will know that you know, there's an overlap between novels and fiction, and in that overlap is truth. And if you don't believe in a novel, you don't buy the story, right? If you can't suspend your disbelief, if the novelist doesn't make you believe, then you don't care. And it's the same with the memoir. And so the best ones have that overlap of truth.
But that's your truth. It's not necessarily my truth.
No, but exactly. And I don't care about your truth. Because I'm telling you about my truth, and I think that's the thing about all memoirists. You know, memoirists have a responsibility to tell their truth, and that's all any of us can tell. I'm very suspicious of people who claim to be telling my truth or somebody else's truth, unless they're made up. You know, all any of us can do is tell our truth, and our truth is very subjective, and it's subject partly to memory as well, which is very unreliable. And I think you have to just accept all of those things and say, right, this person is telling me about this moment in time, this place, these people, and that is all any of us can do. And of course, that means that some people will say, well, that's not true, or that's not how I remember it. And to those people, I say, great, tell me your story, tell me your version.
I'm a published author.
Yeah, exactly. Shut up and read it. You know.
You mentioned about emotional truth. Because of fiction, right, we actually can't reach to that truth, but it is not the truth, but as you mentioned, the emotional truth. I think in many ways every story has this call that you actually try to reach, try to dig, like digging for treasure. I think you mentioned it well. I mean, it's an emotional truth that you want to explore, you want to kind of extract out from the story. Yeah.
Kamini, you were nodding as well when Damian said about truth. Does that thing resonate with you?
For me, it's about being true to the story that I heard, or someone shared with me, or told me, especially the very traditional or tribal tales, because there's a lot of ritual that's attached to it. There is a lot of, these are sacred stories. You know, they're not personal experiences, and there is a reason why it is told that way, in that rhythm, in that pattern, with certain repetitions and certain words. And if you have been lucky enough to be in the presence of people who willingly share these stories with you, trust you, and hand them over to you, give you permission to retell the stories of their tribe, you have to honor the truth. And it's a bit difficult to remember the exact, you know, unless you're audio recorded, which is another level of permission to ask, can I do this? And some of these sessions can go on for like 9 hours. You don't stop them and say, hang on, I need to upload this. That's not going to happen. So like you said, you can't remember everything. So in some situations where I don't have technology, I can't record it. It's just up to what I remember. I have my own ways of testing myself at every point, what I remember, but I visualize things.
Are some of the sessions really up to 9 hours?